Hey guys, welcome back to my brand new channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm making a watercolor background layout, sharing 4 reasons why I love you. You could use this for your significant other, your kiddo, your pets. I've got new memory keeping process videos coming every weekend. They're just like this one. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and let's get to it. So I'm starting with a piece of 12 by 12 watercolor paper, and the first thing that I do is just mark off the boundaries of where I want the watercolor marks to go. I am definitely not an expert at watercolor painting, but I always start out by spreading around quite a bit of water in the area that I want the paint to be in. So the paint will move around a lot more freely. My paints are also always very messy because I'm constantly mixing colors and I don't really know how to keep them super clean. One trick that I learned in the watercolor class that I took is spreading some rock salt around on the paint area, and it kind of creates a cool pattern that you'll see. When I'm doing a watercolor background, I like there to be a lot of color variability in the washed backgrounds that I do. So I mix in quite a bit of different colors and just kind of throw it around wherever I feel like it looks good. And I also keep water, just plain water in that watercolor pen, and I use that just to kind of make things a little bit more diluted in certain areas. What the rock salt will do is pull all of the water toward the piece of rock salt, and so it'll create almost like a little starburst pattern around it. The trick, of course, is waiting until the paint is completely dry, which is very, very hard for me to do. It's also very hard for me to know when to stop with any watercolor background because you can always change things, you can always make it different, and that's one thing I really like about it is it's super forgiving if you make any mistakes or put on too much paint, not enough paint. It's pretty much, there's nothing that you can do that isn't fixable with watercolor, and that's what I love about them. So I was going for kind of a pale rainbow color here. This photo that I'm using was taken at the beach, and so I wanted there to kind of be some beachy vibes to the color scheme I was using. So to make sure that there was continuity between the colors, I started out with each of the prior colors and then mixing in little bits of the new color gradually. And you can kind of see that I started going lower and lower with each of the little watercolor patches. That was definitely not my intent, and it's not really what I was hoping to do, but I actually kind of liked it. It just looked a little bit more rustic, shall we say. And when I'm placing the rock salt, I tried to put it in places where the water and the paint were pooling, where it was going to be the most vivid. I didn't want there to be any spots that were too dark, so that's where I'm putting the rock salt to try to soak up the excess there and give it that kind of eroded look. The hardest thing is waiting for it to fully dry, and actually by the time I start stamping, the blue is still not completely dry. Luckily, it worked out okay. And I'm using 2 different stamp sets from Ali Edwards to create some journaling space, and my story theme is Love You and 4 different reasons why. So my idea was for the watercolor areas to form the backdrop to each of my journaling areas. And I'm using the numbers from the Good Old Days collection by Studio Calico and Ali Edwards. I bought several different sets of these alpha chipboard stickers because they're just so great and super versatile. So I'm filling in my journaling, just kind of trying to stay inside the lines of the watercolors. Glue on my photo, and then I thought I wanted to put a piece of washi tape or a strip of patterned paper in between the journaling and the photos, but I tried a couple of different strips and they probably would have worked, but I just didn't like it. So I ended up just leaving the edge as is, but it needed a little bit more. So I grabbed some long label stickers from a previous Studio Calico documenter kit. I think these were in the April kit. I'll make sure, but they matched the colors I was working with. So I just picked out a few on the side of my photo and then cut off the edge to make it even. Then I was looking at it and it felt like it still needed a little bit more. So I was looking through my embellishments and I found these teeny tiny little wood veneer hearts that came in a previous Studio Calico kit. Arranged them around in a couple of clusters, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I've got memory keeping process videos coming every weekend. See you next time.